Before we begin, I want you to answer this question honestly. You park your car in a no parking zone because you are only going to be 2 minutes. When you come back, there is a parking ticket on your windscreen. What is your first thought? Is it A, that's annoying, I made a choice, there is a consequence, and I'll be more aware next time? B, seriously, of all of the people they could ticket, they chose me. They should be out dealing with real problems. C, this always happens to me. Nothing ever goes right. I'm just unlucky. Or D, I know I shouldn't have parked there, but they should have given me a warning. Now, none of these thoughts make you a bad person. We all have moments where we react emotionally, but your answer reveals something important. Are you moving into personal responsibility, or are you moving into victim consciousness? And this is not just about parking tickets. This same pattern shows up in relationships, work, health, money, personal growth, the wider world, and even spirituality. Because victim consciousness is not about what happens to you. It's about the story you create about what happens to you. Victim consciousness is a state where we unconsciously give our power away. It's the belief that life happens to me, other people control my situation, my circumstances determine my choices, I have no influence over my future, someone or something else is responsible for changing my life. Now, I want to be very clear. This does not mean pretending difficult things do not happen. People experience trauma, loss, betrayal, injustice, disappointment, and genuine hardship all the time. Acknowledging pain is not victim consciousness. Staying trapped in powerlessness is. There is a big difference between I experienced something painful and this painful experience now defines what is possible for me. One acknowledges reality, the other gives your power away. Now, the difficult thing about victim consciousness is that it can feel justified because often there is truth in the story. Maybe someone did treat you unfairly. Maybe someone did hurt you. Maybe you were overlooked. Maybe life did give you circumstances you did not choose. But the question is not, was this unfair? The question is, what am I going to do with what happened? Because there is a point where looking for who is responsible becomes a distraction from asking, what is my responsibility now? And this is where personal power begins. You are now wise to the fact that others do not always have your best intention, care, or are there to help you. You are responsible for who you hand your power away to. And in that realization, you can claim it back. So let's go back to that parking ticket. You park in a no parking zone, you return to find the ticket. The victim consciousness might sound like, why me? They are just trying to make money. They should be focusing on bigger problems. I only parked here for 2 minutes. Now, some of those statements may even have some truth. Maybe enforcement feels unfair. Maybe other people got away with exactly the same thing. But notice what happens. Your attention moves away from your choice. The focus becomes the parking officer, the system, other people, the unfairness, everything except your own decision. Now, the empowered response is different. It says, yes, I'm frustrated. I don't like getting this ticket, but I made a choice, and this is the consequence of that choice. That does not mean you have to like it. It means you are willing to own your part of it, because ownership creates option. Blame removes them. A useful way to recognize victim consciousness is through the victim triangle. One is the victim. The belief, I have no power here. Examples would be my boss controls whether I succeed. My past controls my future. My partner controls my happiness. My circumstances prevent me from changing. There is nothing I can do about the system. It's just the way it is. Now, the victim looks outwards for the source of that pain. The second part is the rescuer, the belief that someone else needs to fix this for me. This can show up spiritually too, in waiting for the right teacher, the right course, the right healing, the right activation, the right person to arrive before taking action. Growth requires support, but support is different from surrendering responsibility. And then the third part of that triangle is the persecutor, the belief that someone needs to be blamed. Now, this can look like anger, judgment, criticism, or constantly identifying who caused the problem, turning it into a witch hunt, needing and wanting someone to blame, be responsible for all of the problems. Now, sometimes anger is healthy. Anger can show us where boundaries were crossed. But when anger becomes our identity, we stay connected to the thing that hurt us or the belief. So let's look at how victim consciousness shows up in everyday life. Relationships. I always attract people who hurt me. The deeper question is, what pattern am I participating in? What boundaries have I not set? What behaviors have I accepted? What beliefs about myself keep repeating this cycle? All right, work. My workplace does not value me. Well, the question becomes, where am I withholding my own value? Am I communicating? Am I developing my skills? Am I expecting recognition before I demonstrate my contribution? All right, personal growth. I know what I need to do, but I can't change. The real question is, what part of me benefits from staying the same? Because sometimes victim consciousness protects us. It protects us from risk, responsibility, failure, being seen, stepping into our own power. Change requires us to stop identifying with the old story. Victim consciousness is not just a thought pattern. When we repeatedly think, I have no control, the nervous system starts organizing around helplessness. The body contracts, the energy moves into survival, we become focused on threat, blame, defense, protection. This often disconnects us from our personal power. Energetically, this impacts the areas connected with our root energy, our root chakra, safety and stability. The solar plexus, which is our confidence, choice, personal power, our heart energy, compassion without self-abandonment. The goal is not to become hard or blame yourself. The goal is to reconnect with your ability to choose. Here are 3 questions I use when I notice myself moving into a victim mindset. The first question is, What part of this situation is outside my control? Be honest. Some things we can do nothing about. Some things are not yours to fix. All right, question 2. What part of this situation belongs to me? What choices did I make? What patterns did I repeat? What did I ignore? Where can I grow? Question 3. What choice is available to me now? This is the most powerful question because your power does not exist in the past. It exists in your next choice. The shift from victim consciousness is not, I cause everything that happens to me. That's another form of disempowerment. The shift is, I may not have chosen everything that happened to me, but I choose what happens next. That is where your power returns. That is where healing begins. And that is where you stop living from reaction and start living from conscious choice. Now, I want you to think about one area of your life where you feel stuck. Maybe that's a relationship, a situation, a goal, a recurring frustration. Now ask yourself, where have I been waiting for someone else or something else to change before I take my next step? Because the moment you reclaim responsibility, you reclaim your energy. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, who do I choose to become because of this? That is the beginning of real transformation.